Hey everybody, it's Kim Shivler. Welcome. You know, WordPress version 4.5 shipped this week. Now, it actually shipped 2 days ago, but I was out of town on business. So I'm doing my little quick video with what's new and what's updated for you right now. There's not a whole lot in this one on the front end. There's a lot of stuff on the back end, maximizing optimization of images and scripts and that type of thing. But of course, for our purposes, we're just looking at the front end because we just trust that they're doing the right things in the background and on the back end side to make WordPress just better and better. But since we're not developers on that underlying piece, we're website builders on the front end, we're going to just pay attention to the things that are front facing, and those are the ones we're going to look at. So let's take a look. One of the first ones is that we now have what's called inline links. So if I am typing and I want to reference something and I go to select the link, instead of bringing up a whole separate box, it actually brings it up in line. I can now paste in a URL or type in a URL, or I can even type to search within my document or within my site, I should say, because a lot of times instead of linking to something outside, which is where we would paste a URL, we want to link right to our own pages. So you know what? I'm actually going to show you that in the blog post I'm writing. How meta is this? Exactly how I'm going to use this. So I've come here and I've talked about all the things that are new, and then I'm going to tell you it's time to update WordPress, but you want to do it right because you can lose things. So we talk about backups, etc. So I'm going to point you over to my article on troubleshooting WordPress updates, just in case something goes wrong. So if I highlight this and I click on my link, and I can just start typing troubleshooting, and here it is. WordPress 4.3 is live, how to troubleshoot a broken update. Now, I wrote that article when 4.3 came out, but all of the information in it is still relevant. While 4.3 to 4.5, the features of that product are different, the steps to troubleshoot are the same. So I'm going to refer back to that. I can just apply it right here. And I now have a link. It's that easy to do. Now, for those of you, I just want to give you a quick little tip. Those of you that really like to keep your hands on the keyboard instead of grabbing the mouse for that, there are some shortcut keys in WordPress that will allow you to do it without leaving the keyboard. I'm going to do a whole article on all of them in the future. But for right now, since we're talking about inline linking, let me just show you how I would do that. So say I actually wanted to link this WordPress 4.3 to something. I will hold down the Shift key, and I'm going to just use the backspace arrow to quickly highlight it. So I just used a little backspace arrow and it highlighted it. Now, to pull up the link, it's two different commands for Windows or versus Mac. So if you're on if you're on Windows, you're going to hold down the Control key and press K, the letter K, lowercase, while you're holding down the Control key. If you're on a Mac, you're going to hold down the Command key and then press K. I'm on a Mac, so that's what I'm doing. And then the exact same thing would apply. I could start typing in words to bring up the pages on the site that I might want to link to, or I could enter a URL. So that's just a quick tip if you would prefer to use keystrokes instead of using your mouse. So inline links are one of the big things that are part of this. There are also two new options for inline formatting, and that means shortcut formatting using keystrokes instead of having to go up to a toolbar or something like that. The first one is adding a horizontal line. And for most of my students, this is the one they'll be using. So right now, if I want to enter a horizontal line, instead of having to come up to and use my mouse on my toolbar and click here, horizontal line, what I can do is on a blank line, like I'm on right now, I can just enter 3 dashes. Press enter, and you'll have a horizontal line. The next inline editing option is really for a lot more of developers and all, although sometimes you could use it if you're trying to communicate with a developer. And that is to select an area and format it as code, like computer code. And the way you do that is with backticks. So say I'm going to tell you like that above, this is code. What I do is at the beginning, I enter a backtick, and at the end, I enter a backtick. And now it displays itself as code. Backticks tend to be on the small Mac keyboard, the portable one. They are between the tab and the escape. They're usually all the way to the left of the numbers, and it's usually a key that has the tilde, that's the little squiggly tilde on the top, and the backtick under it. So that's another option. So those are our 2 big editing options within the visual editor. Now the other thing that is done, and this is really theme dependent, is that for the customizer, so if we go, we're going to leave the page, I didn't need to save it. If we go into the customizer, under site identity, notice here how it says logo. Right within the customizer, you can now add your logo if the theme is written that way. It always used to be theme dependent, and it still can be. They might block that. But what they're doing is providing options within the customizer to just make it easier and easier to do all of your settings within this. So, for example, if you're using 2015 or 2016, the formal WordPress themes, you definitely can do this. And that's what I'm doing right here. Now we have another option, if you notice here in the customizer, and that's down here at the bottom. We can actually, from right here within the customizer, look at 3 different size views. So here is my full screen, big computer view, which is what I'm in right now. I can click on the tablet to see what it looks like. And I can click on a phone to see the smaller version and what it looks like. You know what? I'm actually going to go to the live site. Now, I've been making edits on here, so I'm going to go ahead and save the draft. And I'm going to show this to you on my actual White Glove Web Training site. So I'm going to come into Appearance, Customize. And you can see them here at the bottom. So this is my main screen, what it normally looks like. If I come over to a tablet size, this is what it shrinks down to for that. We're looking at the home page right now. And then on the phone. So it's just a little way to help you kind of test your site right within the site so that you're not having to jump outside and use a lot of different widgets. So those are really your big forward-facing changes. And as I said, in the back end, like they're really working on optimization to make the responsive images load faster, and that's something we want. Options for loading the scripts, etc. So we're going to just trust that they're doing the best they can back there. We're going to work on the forward-facing here. And of course, as always, it means it's time to upgrade. I mentioned this before when we looked at the inline links. If your site is running an older version, it's time to do your updates on WordPress, also on your, on the WordPress core software, also on your plugins and your themes. But make sure you do it right. And that starts with a great backup. And then you want to go through the troubleshooting just in case something goes wrong. I don't recommend doing this when you only have 5 minutes to spare, because if something goes wrong, you're going to have to spend the time to roll it back. So grab the link for the troubleshooting page, enjoy WordPress 4.5, and I will see you in the next lesson. This is Kim Shivler.